I'm Michael Frudenberg and this is Film Masters. On today's episode, we're making Kylo Ren's lightsaber. It looks something like this. Now the Kylo Ren lightsaber comes with a free download preset. Now in the download area just below this video, we have a download pack for the Kylo Ren project. It's going to have two videos, so one we'll be working on, the other one you can play around with. And also we've got some sound effects for lightsabers, including one that's pretty close to the Kylo Ren lightsaber, as well as the Kylo Ren lightsaber preset. Now the preset itself is free. It's a simple preset that's going to be allowing us to speed up our workflow. So it's going to make your lightsaber pretty cool. And that includes the humming, the vibration, the lightning, and stuff like that. So let's get into the tutorial. First up, let's have a look at the download pack. So we've got the two video clips. We've got the Kylo Ren lightsaber preset, and we've got the 3 sound samples. So let's, first of all, right click and copy the lightsaber preset. Let's go to your Adobe folder. Let's find After Effects, support files, and presets. Now let's paste that in. So Control V, and voila, we're ready to go. Okay, let's get into it. First thing we're going to do is go to 8-bit and change it to 16-bit per channel. Select OK, and I'm just going to drag the first clip, clip 1, and clip 2 down. So they're on separate timelines, separate projects, and let's check out the footage that we have. So in clip 1, we have a Jedi in the background, and in the foreground, we've got me again with a Kylo Ren style hilt. Now this was filmed at a train station, funny enough. And if we have a look at clip 2, we have me with the saber hilt, and as you can see, I've got a rod in there. So that will help us when we mask, the roto mask, I should say, for the lightsaber. So let's go to clip 1. We're going to be working on clip 1 to do our very first effect. So let's move the timeline to when the hilt stops, because that's when the blade is going to come out. And the first thing we're going to do is go up to layer, new, solid. I'm going to make sure it's a white layer, pure white. Select OK. Select make comp size and OK. And I'm just going to use the tool to unpluck the eye so we can't see that layer. And we're going to go up to the mask tool, and we're going to start drawing our lightsaber. So let's do that. And I'm going to make it 1, 2, 3, 4, and join it together like so. So if I bring the layer back, as you can see, we've got a pure white layer. Now with the layer selected, let's press MM and turn on the stopwatch on the mask path. Now let's just bring that down. Now I'm going to zoom in and have a look. So what we want to do is move each point in line to where we want the saber to ignite from. So I'm just going to grab them and drag them down. And I'm going to zoom right back in again. Now we press Z obviously as a shortcut on our keyboard to zoom back in. I'm going to grab the mask tool again. So just go up there and select the mask tool. And we're just going to simply put another mask point at the corner and drag it out. I'm using the page up, page down keys to move it frame by frame. But what we're going to do first of all is cut down the layer first so that it starts on the timeline. So just move it up like so. I hold the shift key down so it locks in. And now I can move it frame by frame. So it ignites on the timeline when we want it to. Now we're just going to move it frame by frame. So by pressing page down to move forward, like so, I'm going to now drag the mask out. So this is keyframing. So from the beginning of the hilt, like so, I'm just going to drag it back a little bit. So that's the first point. And if we go one more frame, so I'm going to jump out a little bit, go one more frame, and then we're going to drag it right out. So it's going to ignite, and it's going to stretch it back out. Now, depending on how many frames you do it, if you do a few frames, it's going to go slow. Or if you do it over 2 frames or 3 frames, it's going to go a little bit quicker. So experiment with it. It's your saber after all. Now I'm just going to drag it out and have my saber about that length. So to the brick wall. So it's almost touching. But it isn't, obviously, because if it is, it'd be us putting a score mark on it. But hey, you could always put a score mark on there if you want to. But we're not going to do that for this tutorial. So once you're happy with the length, that's what it's going to look like. Just going to make sure that it's in line with the hilt, because we don't want to have a bent lightsaber after all. And then what I'm going to do is just line it back up to the hilt. So each frame we're going to move frame by frame and extend the hilt out. Like so. Now, lightsaber rotoscoping does take time, so be prepared. Depending on how long your footage is, it's going to take you to do the rotoscoping for it. So I'm just going to make sure that we've got a nice point on the end. And I'm going to make a few more adjustments. So next frame, move it up again. And again, in line with the hilt, we want to make sure the blade is in line with it. Otherwise, it's going to have a bent look to it. So frame by frame, we're just going to keep moving forward. I'm going to move the whole lot up at once. Now, these finer adjustments will give it a look like it's humming. So if you remember the original trilogy, you would remember that when you look at Luke's lightsaber or even Darth Vader's lightsaber, it would sort of vibrate. Now, the reason for that is because originally they were painting the lightsabers on frame by frame. And because it was done by hand, it had imperfections, which gave frame by frame that slight vibration look. So it looked natural. It looked organic. And funny enough, by doing rotoscoping frame by frame, it's going to give you that same look, and that's what we're going for. So I'm going to speed up this process. I'm just going to speed up the timeline. Obviously, you've got the understanding of how we're going to move our lightsaber around. So we're going to do that, jump to the end of it, and then we're going to apply our crossguards. Okay, so the main blade is done. So just finish the last bit of tweaking on it. Last frame, guys and girls. And now we're just going to re-bring up that layer and just jump out so we can have a look at it. And let's have a look at it on the timeline. So our fallen Jedi comes into frame and ignites the lightsaber. So one thing you've noticed as well is I've got a slight twist of the wrist, and that is where our crossguard sabers are going to come out for the new KYLO REN lightsaber. So let's move it to there, and we're going to start the whole process all over again. So all we need to do is go up to layer, new, solid, make sure it's white, make sure it's a comp size, select OK. Let's make it disappear, and let's get the mask tool, zoom in, and we're going to put in our very first saber. So I'm going to make this 5 points this time. It looks a bit too fat, don't you think? Now I can make the mask disappear and then bring it back again. Now I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to make some finer adjustments. But before we do that, let's make sure that we cut it off so it comes into frame and then appears. And let's make sure that we line it up. So I want it to look like it's just igniting out of the hilt. About there. I might bring it in a little bit more. Okay, I'm happy with that. Now, bring up the mask, select the stopwatch so that our mask path is ready for animation. Now, obviously, page up, page down is what we're going to be using on the keyboard frame by frame. And each frame we move, we're going to move the saber out. So we can make adjustments. Like so. So there's the first step and the second step. Just going to reline it up, and we're going to extend it out again. So just going to drag it out. Now, depending on how far you want the crossguard to come out, I'm going to bring it out this far. It's probably a little bit longer than our KYLO REN crossguard, but hey, we can do what we want, right? Perfect. So we're ready to go, frame by frame, exactly the same as the main saber. So I'm going to speed this up because you've done this already. It's just we're going to do it in a very smaller scale because it's just simply the crossguard saber coming up. So I'm going to speed up the video and we're going to cut straight to the next step. So now that we've done our first crossguard, we're just going to play that and see what it looks like on the timeline. So I'm just going to quickly shorten the timeline. Just pressing the B button. We'll cut off our render area. So this is what we've got. Saber ignites and crossguard ignites. Cool. I'm happy with that. So let's have a look. The next step is simple. We're just going to do the other crossguard and exactly the same steps as before, frame by frame. So we're pretty much making 3 lightsabers on one. So again, let's go new solid, make comp size okay, and make it disappear. I'm going to cut it on the timeline. I'm going to zoom in. Z on the keyboard to zoom in. Let's bring the mask tool up and let's begin it. So I'm going to speed up this video again because it's exactly the same process as the main saber and the other hilt saber, and we'll jump straight into the next step. Now before we do, let's have a look at the animation. I'm pretty happy with that. Saber comes out and then the hilts come out at the same time, just like KYLO REN's saber. Pretty cool, huh? Now we're going to select the main solid, the one that's got the main saber on it. Let's go up to Layer, Pre-Comp, and I'm going to call this Saber Main. And make sure we've selected Move All Attributes to the main composition. Excellent. So let's double click on that. And we're straight in the pre-comp and we're going to Control D 3 times. So we've got 4 layers. Now let's go Layer, New Solid, select Black, Pure Black, select OK. Make sure it's the same comp size, press OK, and drag it at the very bottom. If we don't put it at the bottom, it will not work. First layer, let's press MM, move the feather to 5, close that down. Let's jump up to the second from the bottom layer and we'll select MM. Now this one is going to be feathered out to 25. So let's put 25 in there. We'll go up to the layer above that, select MM to jump into that, the properties for the mask, and we'll make this one 35. And then finally, we're going to jump up to the very top layer and we'll go MM and make this one 45. I'm happy with that. So we're going to go from the pre-composition and we're going to go straight to clip 1. And we're going to select the mode. And we're going to change that mode to screen. Excellent. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to use our KYLO REN Lightsaber preset that I've made. That's in the download pack. So let's bring that up in the presets, just write KYLO, and it should come up, grab it, drag it down, and drop it automatically straight onto the pre-comp, and already the saber is almost done. So as you can see, it's already colorized it. Now what it has done though, it has applied a lightning layer separately, but we're going to animate that. So let's zoom in. Now first of all, I'm just going to select the lightning layer. And we're going to go straight up and we're going to move the lightning into line. Now, when I select the warning, it just states that it doesn't use certain color spaces on 16-bit, and that's okay. Just select okay, and you don't have to worry about that. Now, I want to show you something as well. If we select curves, we can adjust the edge of our blade, as you can see. So you can feather out the, depending on how much heat you want coming out. Now, one thing along the blade we want to do is animate. We want to animate that rough look that KYLO REN saber has. So if I play the animation, you'll see nothing moves. Just simply the lightning that's moving at the moment on the edge. What we want though is that rough Kylo Ren saber look. Now he's obviously made it. He obviously has force abilities. We don't know much about Kylo Ren at the moment because the movie hasn't been released. However, it looks like he's actually just made this and it's very organic. And we're going to start to animate that edge. So let's go at the beginning of the timeline, selecting turbulent displacement. On evolution, at the beginning of the timeline, I'm going to click on the stopwatch, then go straight to the end of the timeline and put 20 in there. Now, if we play the animation now, what you will see is the blade itself is going to vibrate and have that unique look similar to Kylo Ren's lightsaber. So that's a very simple and easy thing to do with this preset that I've put together for you guys. So now that we've done that, let's go to the lightning layer. And we're going to now animate the lightning layer so that it stays on the blade. So let's select the start point, put it where we want the point to begin. So I'm going to put at the beginning of the hilt, for example. I'm going to drag out the other end. And I'm going to make sure that both the start point and end point of those stopwatches are selected so we can keyframe animate. Then it's just a matter of moving it frame by frame or sliding it along. If it's not moving much, then you don't need to move it too much. We just simply want it to sit above the blade, like so. Now, funny enough, this is exactly the same process that you're going to do with the hilt sabers as well. Again, we're just simply duplicating the same as the main blade for the hilts. So as you can see, the lightning is now sticking to the blade because we've animated it like so. So now we've got that rough look with the lightning. And that is the majority of the work done. So again, we're just going to go straight through and do the same again for the hilts. So we're going to go to Layer, Pre-Compose. Make sure that all attributes go to the composition. And we're going to call this one Upper Hilt. Select OK. And I'm going to double click on the pre-comp. And from here, we're going to duplicate that 4 times. Then we're going up to a layer, new, solid. Make sure it's a black layer. Drop it down at the very bottom. And then we're going to go straight through and adjust the feathering. So again, feather 5. Then go straight to the next layer, and 25. And then we're going to jump straight through to the next layer above, and we'll make that 35. And then finally, we'll go up to the top layer, to bring up those mask properties, and we'll make this one 45. Once we're done with that, all we need to do is go back to clip 1 on the timeline. Let's change the mode to screen. And there we have it. Now all we have to do is get that KYLO REN Lightsaber preset, drop it on, and we begin again the process of animating those items. For example, the lightning. So we'll just move the lightning down like so. So just simply moving it around, drag it around, make it fit. And then we're going to select the stopwatches and we're going to do the animation again. Very similar to the main blade that we were working on beforehand. So I'm just going to tweak it around. So at the very beginning, when the animation starts, select the stopwatches so we can start keyframing, drag the lightning up. And then there's not too much movement I need to do with this because the hilt doesn't move around too much, neither does the blade. And once we're happy with that, the next thing we're going to do is do the same to the other hilt. So I'm going to speed forward. We've seen all this before. All you're simply doing is duplicating absolutely everything that we've already done on the main blade. So again, we're just going to simply speed up the process, and I'm just going to simply do a quick pre-comp, move this saber, and there we go. Now, one thing I want to show you is when we move it to the very beginning, we need to go in there and adjust the pre-comp for all 3 layers. Now, the only reason is because the lightning layer, as you can see, appears prior to when the sabers come out. So one thing we need to do, obviously, is just make adjustments to those on the timeline. So all I'm going to do is just simply grab those main pre-comps on the timeline and make adjustment. So as you can see, we've still got that lightning just sitting there, wiggling away, doing its own thing. We want to get rid of it. So to get rid of it again, like I was saying, it's just simply a matter of finding out when the saber ignites. So I'm just going to drag the composition and find the right point. And once I've found that, so first of all, saber is on the hilt, disappear first, because I'm moving it backwards. So I'm going to grab those and I'm going to select both of them and grab the slider and adjust it so that if I jump back one, bam, disappears. And I'll do exactly the same with the main saber. So I'm just going to move it back and then grab the slider and adjust it so it disappears like so. So if I go back one frame, it's gone. Simple as that. And that's it. We're done. KYLO REN's lightsaber. So let's have a look at it, guys. Let's set it up and let's render it out. Now, we're not going to really work on clip 2. Clip 2 is there for you to play around with yourself. It's exactly the same process and it should look like this. So it's just a matter of using the same principles I've showed you and have fun. Now, if you want to be a Film Masters subby, it's quite simple. Simply subscribe to our channel. You can check us on Facebook and on Twitter. And until next time, don't just film it, master it.